Were they always supportive of a career in the arts for you?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting question. Let's peel back.
Hi everybody, I'm so excited. Today's very special. This badass, amazing, fantastic woman. She is a producer, she's an actor, she's a comedian, she's a writer, she's a creative genius, she's an inspiration to so many people. She's really so special, and I'm very grateful to have her here on Street You Grew Up On. We're talking to Lilly Singh!
What an intro! Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited that you're here, like actually here also, like truly in person. Okay, I started these conversations because my production company is named after the street that my mother grew up on in the Bronx, Simpson Street. And that street is like part of my origin story. It's my once upon a time, because when my mother's parents came here through Ellis Island, they lived on Simpson Street. So I think about it that way. And I thought, oh, I want to talk to other people that I really love and admire and respect about their origin stories, their once upon a time. So thank you for being here and doing this.
Thank you. I want this on loop just to play when I'm sad. Just intro.
Call me, girl.
Yeah.
Just call me. Okay. Just call me.
That's right, we're friends.
Yes. So I want to start by just jumping in, and the way I want to know the name of the street you grew up on is I want you to tell me your sexy alter ego name, otherwise known as your porn name. So I want to know it's the first pet you had and the name of the street you grew up on.
Ooh. Just thinking about it is turning me on, to be honest. Oreo, Hupfield.
Yes, Oreo Hupfield.
That's right.
That's sexy.
Little cream in the middle, cookies and cream.
Hey, brown on the outside.
Yeah. Okay. During COVID, we got a little double stuff. That's okay. That's okay. We out here.
Double stuff is real yummy. So, Hupfield Lane, Road, Street?
Hupfield Trail.
Oh, trail.
Fancy.
Was it a trail?
Nope.
No, it just was called a trail.
Just a street.
Tell me about Hupfield. Now, this was not in the United States.
No.
Where is Hupfield?
This was in Scarborough, Ontario, Canada. A lot of people that say they're from Toronto are actually from the GTA, which is the Greater Toronto area.
I
right?
get
So
that.
it's kind of
Because I'm from New York, and so people are from like Long Island, and New Jersey, and they're from like New York. And
it's
like,
close enough where the bus is called the TTC, Toronto Transit, but it's kind of on the outskirts.
Okay.
And Hupfield Trail was in Scarborough. It was more specifically in a community called Malvern.
Now, when you were growing up, did you have a sense of what it meant to be from Scarborough? Did you feel like you were from a place that was economically challenged? Did you feel that there was judgment being placed upon you if you said to somebody that you were from Scarborough?
How I remember it was the most diverse place ever. It was such a tight-knit community. Some of my closest friends, I'm still friends with, were also born and raised in Scarborough. And I really do feel like Scarborough is in my DNA, and I'm actually so proud of saying my dog's name is Scarborough.
Oh, I love that.
I'm so proud of being from Scarborough, because yes, it is like the school where they did have to have the constant security, and yes, there were the metal detectors and all that stuff, but it has made me who I am is how I got my comedic timing, how I have impeccable taste in music, how I have impeccable taste in food. All of that is so Scarborough as well. So I actually have really, really fond feelings about it.
I relate so much to what you're saying in terms of being from the Bronx. Like I tell people I'm from the Bronx and I see their faces being like, whoa. Like I think in their mind they see like a Mortal Kombat game where I'm just like on the defense all the time. I'm like, no, it was an incredible place to grow up. So let's dig in a little bit more to like Hupfield, H-A-U, Hupfield?
Hupfield, H-U-P.
Okay.
Yep.
Hupfield. Okay, so tell me about the food. Tell me about the food and the fashion and the music. What was and the house itself? Like what was it a house? Was it an apartment?
It was a house.
Okay.
This is taking me way back.
Good.
This is the magic of this show. Oh, you're doing so good. The house had a little bit of grass in the front with a little bit of a path, and I really remember that quite fondly because my grandfather, who's no longer with us, who was my favorite person ever, would always sit on his plastic chair right there on the grass and just wave.
Just be there.
Just to all the kids that would pass, it was his duty to be there and be like, it's my time to shine, here they come.
And he would wave.
I met him for the first time in that house because once my grandmother had passed away, he immigrated to Canada and moved into that house with us.
Wow.
Yeah, so he lived in that house with us. And
Who else was in that house?
It was me, it was my mom, it was my dad, my sister, and my grandpa.
Wow.
Yeah. And Oreo.
And Oreo.
And Oreo.
And Oreo was what? What kind of animal?
Oreo was a cat.
Okay.
That was black and white.
Okay.
Very creative. Oreo.
Did you have your own room or did you share a room?
I did have my own room.
Oh.
And I remember the excitement of running into the house, because I was quite young when we moved into that house.
Okay.
But I do still remember running into the house and saying, I want this room to be my room. And I remember it was filled with way too many teddy bears. It was covered wall to wall with posters.
Of who?
Oh, girl.
Yes, tell me.
Majority of them were The Rock. Dwayne Johnson. Are there any surprises? The Rock.
Oh my God, I love that.
I had Aaliyah.
Aaliyah.
Yep. And then I had a lot of
rest her
Bollywood
soul.
actors
Oh.
as well. And of course, Backstreet Boys, Spice Girls. Covered my wall.
That's a lot of posters.
When I say every inch.
So could you have imagined, or was it your dream sitting in that room, that you would be in somebody else's poster one day, that you would have this career in showbiz and that you would be, you know, this visible, famous, successful actress, comedian, producer, writer, person?
If I'm being really honest,
Yeah.
I do feel from a young age, I always knew I wanted to do something different. I was that kid growing up that wanted to be in the middle of the dance party, family
Not
parties, right?
shy or afraid.
It's interesting you say that because there was a period of time where I was shy, but the arts would always make me come out of my shell.
It
So
was
in
like the vehicle you could come through.
Exactly. I wouldn't talk very much with a lot of my family, but the second music played at a family party, I was reenacting scenes of a Bollywood movie. You know, I always felt very comfortable creating and in arts. And I remember in that house was the first time my dad, and he will, if you ever meet my dad, he will tell you this story. He will
Okay,
say,
good.
when Lilly was younger, I spent all of my money buying the first camera because she started walking. This was the story he'll tell, that he spent all of his money to buy a camcorder when I started walking. We still have this camcorder. It is this big.
I love it.
Full-size VHS. Kids, a VHS is like
I
a
know.
streamer, but on a physical tape.
Yeah.
And he bought it for us.
Thank you for translating
Yes, I had to
for them.
translate
Yes.
for the kids.
Thank you, guys.
And I remember I got a hold of that when I was a little bit older. It was the first time I ever made a video of myself too. I recorded myself being funny in front of that camera. And now, fast forward to know that I make YouTube videos and I act and do all these things, it kind of started in that house. But
Wow.
I will say, although I loved entertainment, I loved the arts, I don't think deep down I ever truly, truly believed that could ever be a career. Because especially growing up in South Asian culture, that stuff is a hobby. And that stuff is like stuff you grow out of. So the fact that I'm doing what I'm doing right now is kind of amazing to me. Because
Yeah.
I think the inner child always wanted it. And then I convinced myself I had to grow out of it.
Were they always supportive of a career in the arts for you?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting question. Let's peel back.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Growing up, I think I was a little bit of a difficult child because I always, by nature, have been a little bit rebellious. Whether it was like, oh, I want to dress like a tomboy growing up, and my parents not ever stopping me, but being like, okay, but we have to go to this party. Like, can you put on this outfit? Maybe like be a little more girly.
So I'm
or-
so fascinated by this
Yes.
because I'm really fascinated that you would say I was a difficult child
Yes.
as opposed to I had difficult parents.
Oh, interesting.
That's so interesting, right?
The
Because
reason, I think the reason I say that is because I'm coming from a place where I've really learned in my adult life to give my parents grace.
yeah.
I think growing up, I would have said I had really difficult parents. But I think as an adult, I know that no, actually, with what they are used to and where they came from, the time they came from, it was probably difficult to understand a child like me. And that doesn't make me difficult. It makes the connection difficult. more
Yeah.
than
So
anything.
let's say in the telling of your story,
Yeah.
maybe that growing up there was a difficult dynamic.
Yes. That's
Because
it. I love that.
they weren't difficult, you weren't difficult.
what?
You were each in your best version of yourselves, but the dynamic was difficult.
I did not anticipate therapy. Here we are.
There's
you
an
serving it all.
invoice at the end.
Okay,
Yeah,
perfect,
it's
perfect.
fine. You have such beautiful perspective about the gifts that you got growing up on Hupfield, like the ways that that time, that your childhood really support who you are today.
Yeah.
Even the things that didn't look like gifts at the time are gifts now.
Yeah.
Can you think of another example of something that like was a major lesson in that house, in that time, that when you were in the moment, it just felt awful, but looking back, you think, oh, this is something I had to walk through.
So there's actually many, but one I think of is some of my best childhood friends. So were always my neighbors, and it's the first time I experienced someone leaving me because I think I stayed on Hupfield Trail way longer than anyone else that lived on
Your
the street.
family lived there a long time.
Yes.
My parents have lived in the apartment they live in the Bronx for 50 years.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
So there's just so much I relate to in your story. But tell me, so okay.
But so first I had my best friends who were neighbors, and they moved when I was really, really young, and I was devastated. And then someone else moved in their place, and then we became really good friends. And people slowly started to keep moving, all my closest friends. But what devastated me the most was actually eventually when my family decided to move. There was still one group of friends I had that lived really, really close. And I literally felt like my life was ending. I vividly remember because these friends...
This was leaving Hupfield Trail.
This was leaving Hupfield. It was the hardest thing I've ever done because it was... I didn't want to move. It was my parents' decision to move, and I couldn't understand why they wanted to do that. My school was there. My friends were there. And these friends that I had, they're Tamil, Sri Lankan Tamil. And it is the reason I know a little bit of Tamil. It is the reason that I literally went to their house after school. Their grandmother kind of like took care of me as well. They were like family to me. And when my parents said, no, we want to move like to a slightly better area or get this for our family, whatever, I was so upset at them. I don't think I helped them pack a single box. I didn't talk to them for probably weeks. I didn't unpack in the new house. I refused to. I was just 10. I was devastated. Looking back at it though, that growth was so necessary because I have learned in my life that the best relationships I have are because there was distance. Like, and I always say now that my entire family still lives in Toronto. I'm the only one that lives abroad. My relationship with my parents and family is so strong. And I think moving to America, I remembered that moment of me leaving Hupfield Trail thinking, remember how much closer you got to those friends? Remember how much better that relationship got? I think I learned the lesson of distance doesn't have to mean destruction.
Oof.
Distance can also equal strength.
And do you think that's partly because you have to be, like, you can't take the relationship for granted. You have to be in relationship on purpose when there's distance.
Distance also requires a little bit more effort. And I think sometimes we look at that effort as a negative, like, oh, I'm going to have to make this effort to call them and see them. But I think that effort is what actually gives more roots to that relationship, right? It's two people that are actively saying, oh, I am making a choice. It's not just because you're in close proximity. It's not because it's easy. I'm making a choice, even though it's not as convenient, to choose you and to be your friend and to connect with you. And I think that's really
It's proof
special.
that it's what I want, not just what I have to do.
Exactly.
Wow. That is a really profound lesson.
But I do remember as a kid, that was the most devastating thing, moving from my childhood home.
Of course, of course. And why did they move? Was it kind of an upwardly mobile socioeconomic thing?
A lot of our family had moved to a certain area. We're trying to get close to that family again. I think in my parents' mind, it was, we want better for our kids. We want to move to somewhere that's better.
Yeah. You talk a lot about the diversity in and around Hupfield Trail. What impact did that have on you, and what does that mean? Like, you mentioned friends from Sri Lanka, Tamil friends. What kind of, was it a lot of Punjabi folks? Was it other cultures?
So there actually wasn't that many Punjabi people. In my high school, there was a total of, me included, 10. We would always make this joke that we could count all the Punjabi people on our fingers. Hands, so 10. Which was tough because your parents wanted you to date a Punjabi. I'm like, I got such a limited pool here. They're all cousins. You date one, the other 7 are eliminated. It was very tough. But our school was divided into 2 major groups. Half of my school was Tamil, and half of my school was Jamaican.
Oh, yes. My people.
Yes, exactly. So I grew up with a lot of those influences. Every day for lunch, I would have a Jamaican patty.
God bless you.
The number one thing I miss out here on these streets in LA. It's the best.
Sometimes I have them shipped from East Coast. I'll let you know. Yeah, you come over to the crib, have some patties, cocoa bread. Whole situation. We'll have to hook up about that. Yes.
This is the closest thus far in this interview I've been to crying. I actually
all the things we've been talking about, Jamaican beef patties is what got you close to crying.
I need them to be chicken though.
Okay, we can do that. We can do that. It's available.
I didn't know it. Sorry. I think you guys think I'm joking, but I really feel emotional.
Oh my God, because it tastes like home to you? They're so good. Yeah, that is okay.
You said that to me right. Sorry, my eyes are watering.
Okay, good. I think I have a frozen one in my freezer, but it's beef. So we'll hook you up. We'll get it figured out.
Okay.
What other values or kind of personality assets do you feel like you take from Hupfield Trail into your career, into your work?
Growing up there was a lot of unspoken norms, especially growing up in a South Asian family. I think like when I go to a family party, I say hi to every single person and I say bye to every single person. That's just what it is.
That's not Hollywood.
I learned that and I actually took it quite personally the first time I ever had a birthday party and
people just left.
My manager just left and I was like, where are you? She's like, I left. And I took it so personally, not knowing that she meant no offense by it. But I was like, you didn't say bye to me? And she was like,
I didn't want to bother you. It's your party.
And I was so like, that's so mean. How could you? So there's certain norms like that that I have a really hard time adjusting to.
But how great. That makes you such a
even
fun party guest
like,
that you say hi and bye.
Even things like, for example, I have a few friends in LA that are very about boundaries, which I've learned. I'm not gonna lie. Growing up in Hupfield, there were no boundaries. It was and as an adult, I've learned boundaries are important. But I feel like it's a sense of boundaries I'm not used to. Like, you don't have to pick me up from the airport. Why would I ever expect you to do that as my friend? I'll just Uber it. Whereas I'm like, you're my friend. I want you to pick me up from the airport. Like, I've always said that the definition of friendship and family in Scarborough is very different. It's very ride or die. You need something, I'm there. Why would I want you to ask anyone else? I will be there for you.
I feel like the first time that we really met, I sensed that from you. Like, you just have such an open heart, and I felt like there were no boundaries. Not in like an unhealthy way where I was like, oh my God.
Sometimes, I won't lie, sometimes it teeters, but
I feel your openness.
My personal decision is to be more open and to be more closed off. Even if that means sometimes that might sting, I still choose being more open than being more closed off. I think you lose more being closed off.
Can we play a game?
I would love to play a game.
Okay. I'm going to show you some images, and we're going to talk about what you call it. Okay. Maybe sometimes versus what I call it, but they might be similar.
I'm into it.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Here's the first one. What is that called?
Okay. The only correct answer here.
Oh my God.
The only.
Oh my God.
You should know I'm a very competitive person.
Yes.
The only correct answer.
Yes.
Is pylon.
A what?
It's a pylon.
Like a snake? Like a python?
No,
like a
that's python. This is a pylon. It's a pylon. What that is called is a pylon. They can be like that.
Is she making this up?
That's some Where's Waldo type pylon. They're usually all orange, but
this is a cone.
A cone is what you put ice cream in.
Oh, wow.
So, and I also know y'all sometimes say
like
traffic
coming for
cones.
Me. Yeah.
So many words. It's a pylon.
Okay. What's this called? What is this room called? I'm so curious about this because of your whole, like, international
My
upbringing.
instinct is to say washroom.
Washroom.
Yes. I know you say bathroom. I won't lie, I'm ashamed to say sometimes I assimilate, sometimes I say bathroom here, but it doesn't make sense.
When you say bathroom, do you feel like a sellout? Are you like, oh man, my brain has been colonized?
I say it because sometimes I go to restaurants and my washroom and the person knows what I'm talking about. They're like, sorry, what? And I'm like, you know what I'm asking for. So sometimes just to avoid the chaos.
I'm proud of you that you grew up in Tirana and you don't say loo. I call it a bathroom. Well, actually, really what I call it, because I have kids, is a potty. But when I'm talking to adults, what is this?
That's a Zed.
Absolutely
That is
not.
100% a Zed.
Zed is like the name of a guy who lives around the corner who, like, I don't know, you go to play pool with.
I'm going to say we win because there's a famous DJ by the name of Zed. And his name starts with that.
It starts with this, but does he spell out the rest? Zed? Because he knows that this in itself is not Zed. You can plead the fifth. What's this?
I'm assuming that. Well, that's a university.
Okay.
Is that what that is?
That's not what we're looking for. We're looking
is
for
it university? That's a really bougie university. I don't know what university. I think that's a picture of a university.
Okay, university.
Yeah. Not to be confused with college.
Ah, there we go.
Not to be confused with college.
There we go. Because college is what?
Because in Toronto, college is like hands-on programming. You know what your university
like
is
a trade school. College is a trade school.
Maybe, but university. See,
you're saying maybe because you don't want to give me the win?
Maybe.
Okay.
Well, I will. Maybe. But I will also say. In interviews when I say, oh, university, people give me a look as if I'm being
because it's
pretentious.
very British. It's very like, I went to university.
But my university was called York University.
York?
York.
Oh, that's a pretty campus.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah,
okay. What's this?
Okay, this is something I don't think, these are rockets.
What?
These are rockets.
These are Smarties.
No, they're not. These are
if I pulled
powdery.
all 3 of my children in this room and said, what is this? They would say, first of all, they'd just say candy. But then they would say, if I said, what kind of candy, children? Make mommy look good. They would say Smarties.
This is a candy. They're powdery. They're called rockets. You get them on Halloween usually. A Smartie is a candy-coated chocolate.
What?
Yes.
Oh, I know what you're...
And they're delicious.
We're not the same,
No.
you and me.
Yeah.
I thought we were.
Yeah.
Okay, I think this is the final one.
Okay.
My hands are sweaty.
Okay.
I'm nervous.
Is this where it all ends for us?
What is
our friendship?
this?
I mean, I don't know how this could be different. It's KD mac and cheese.
Why the KD? What's that? What is KD?
Kraft dinner.
Oh, Kraft. I've never heard that before. But listen, here I want to acknowledge that we both say mac and cheese is extraordinary, and I love you.
Oh,
and
it's the number one food
proves
in the
that
world.
at our core,
100%.
we are the same person. This is mac and cheese. I might teach my kids KD.
You should. It's
in
cool.
honor of
KDs.
you.
Have you ever had ketchup chips?
What? Ketchup chips? What are ketchup chips?
Give me your hand for a second.
This hand? This hand. Okay. Yes.
I'm gonna change your life. I want you
You're
to know
coming
that.
here
I
with
want you to
it.
know that I'm gonna change your life.
Okay.
Ketchup chips.
Okay.
Lay's ketchup chips. It's a flavor of chips.
They're not dipped in ketchup.
No.
They come with like a ketchup coating. Yes. That sounds disgusting. I'll try them.
Ma'am!
I'll
They're so
try
good.
them.
They're so good.
That sounds
They're so good.
gross.
They're amazing.
This season, we got a little money so that we could give our
I see
guests.
that.
It's so fun. So we wanted to be able to give each guest the opportunity to give to a charity of their choice. And you chose Unicorn
Island. Yes.
Tell me more about Unicorn Island
Yes.
and what the money's going toward and what you do and what I want to hear it all.
Absolutely. So Unicorn Island is actually something I've been working on for years and years and years.
Yeah.
It started off as my production company, but it has evolved much, much more. I believe that stories can change the world. I believe that if we change the stories, we change the culture, we change the world, and I'm very passionate about gender equity specifically. I think that's the chip on my shoulder. We've talked about this a lot. But I know that a lot of the reasons why women in a lot of places in the world don't have equal opportunities because of this culture of it just always being this way, of it not only being laws and stuff, but this deep belief that women only deserve certain things, and that's culture. And so I really do believe storytelling and education and conversation can change a lot of that culture. And so Unicorn Island is dedicated to creating those resources, those assets, those stories to help kind of shift the culture in a lot of places. Not only, and I don't only want to just say places like India and you know the continent of Africa, in America, in North America, there's a lot of work to be done. And so the money will go towards whether it's programming, whether it's creating content that can be sent to schools or into communities that can really just change the narrative of what it means to be a woman in a lot of places of the world, and I'm really passionate about that.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
So, you know, this idea I said too about like, you know, each person is the hero of their own story, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about your Once Upon a Time. If you were gonna right now tell the kind of fable of your life, the story of your life that starts Once Upon a Time, give me like the first 3 or 4 sentences of your Once Upon a Time.
Once upon a time, there was a young Indian girl who believed she had to live by the books, believed she had to be a certain way and follow this very linear life. And as much as she tried to fight that, she kept being pushed back into that box and that line. Do you want the ending now?
Yeah, if you want to give it to me.
Yeah,
I love that
of
opening.
course, yeah. Fast forward to later on in her life, she has defined her purpose as stepping away from that line. And her purpose is to disrupt that line and to show that other lines can be created so that the next younger girl can walk that path a little easier.
I love that.
I do believe that's my purpose in life. I think for so long in my life I have been so frustrated because at every point, whether personally, professionally, I've always had to go against the grain. Whether it's like the career I chose or the clothes I wanted to wear or like even in my adult life, my sexuality, whatever it is. In therapy, I would tell my therapist, why can't I just be normal? I would always say that, why can't I be normal? And even my therapist would be like, girl, choose a battle here. And I've just concluded in my adult life that that is my purpose. It is to disrupt. It is to step into the reality that I am that person. I am not that person because I'm choosing to be a rebel. It is just in me to do things differently.
To be a disruptor.
To be a disruptor. So now instead of viewing that as something I need to be against, I actually just fully embrace that as who I am.
And how did Hupfield Trail prepare you to be a disruptor?
I'm going to give 2 answers, and it's strange because they're both it's totally contradictory.
Yeah.
The first one is, it showed me that culture is so strong, and that sometimes you have to live within culture. And I think the best parts of me are because I'm so in tune with culture. Having said that, moving away from there also taught me that there's a different way of doing things. And so even though those things are contradictory, I know both sides of the coin. I know the powers of culture, I know the beauty you can extract from it, and then I extract it from culture. The parts of it I feel do not serve me, I do not take with me. On the flip side, knowing things can be done a different way, and rules are made to be broken, and you can disrupt, and you can evolve culture. You know?
That's literally what you do. You,
exactly.
every day that you get up and you are who you are, unapologetically creating what you create, you disrupt culture and expand culture, I think. Because you say, like, I am a woman, I am an Indian woman, I am a child of immigrants, and an immigrant in this country as well, and look at all the things I am. Right. So you make people rethink what those things mean.
And especially now we're getting real deep, but especially now, I think when the world wants to tell you who you are all the time. Online, people want to tell you who you are. You're this, these are the identity politics you play with, you're this, you're this.
To be a queer person, to be a person of color.
I think now, more than ever, simply saying, actually, this is who I am, is the best disruption you can be. I'm going to tell you who I am. You will not tell me, I will tell you who I am.
And I'm changing every day,
Exactly.
so you can't tell me who I am, because I'm the only one in this body today.
Absolutely.
Your real home. So if you could say anything to that little girl on Hupfield Trail, if you could go back and give her any advice or wisdom, what would you say to her?
Don't be afraid to think bigger. I know you've been convinced you can only think here. I know there's a part of you that wants to think like this, but you don't actually think it's possible, so you keep forcing yourself to think like this. But you know what? Stop beating yourself up for that. It's okay to think like this, because you are actually going to do this in your life.
Is there anything from Hupfield Trail that you would want to bring into your life today? Whether it's like an object or a memory or a person or a sound or anything about your way of life or what you had there that you'd want to bring into your life more today?
Yes. In Hupfield Trail, the things that, the best memories I have and the most fun I've ever had was not because we had a lot. It was never because I had the newest gaming system or things. I mean, I had to beg for those things, and at one point in my life I started getting them, but the fondest memories I have were me and my neighbors, my Jamaican neighbors. All we needed was a small folding table and dominoes. A small folding table and dominoes, or a deck of cards, or like water balloons. You know, things like that were the best memories. And I wish I could bring that into my life, because I think now, as adults and where I live, we've convinced ourselves that, like, we need all of this stuff to have fun and connect, when really all you need is some good people, a folding table, and some dominoes to make the best connections ever.
Some good play, just
Exactly.
like simple play.
Some good play, that's exactly it, play. I think that's what it is. Hupfield, I really remember, is basketball, cards, dominoes, tag, you know, things like that that were just so, and it's not just because I was younger, it's because the community and just what we had made that all what it was.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I wish that for you. And I also feel like you're manifesting, if I can use that word, also because I know the project you're working on, The Muppets, feels like play often. So I really wish even more play and joy for you.
So maybe I'll invite you over and we'll play some dominoes.
Yes! I actually don't know how to play dominoes, which is tragic given my background.
It's very, very easy.
Yeah. Okay, I love that. I love that. Let's do that.
I'll teach you some Punjabi card games too.
Yes!
Punjabis are very about the card games.
Yes. Okay. Thank you for doing this. Thank you.
This was so lovely and enjoyable for me.
I'm so happy.
Anyone that may be here, this is for YouTube.
Yes.
Can I do my YouTube show?
Yes, please.
Anyone that may be here from my socials or my channel, make sure you subscribe to this channel right here. Follow Kerry on all of her socials. Oh, I don't know what else we got going on. Buy her merch, subscribe, comment below, go to her blog channel, follow her on Twitter, on Instagram, swipe up, all the things, because she's so lovely and so awesome, and I'm just so happy I got to have this talk with you.
And I know you already follow her, so I don't have to say any of that, but like and subscribe and all that. Okay, thank you so much. Everybody, just please really do all the things with this woman. She is such a beautiful human being. I'm so grateful that she came on Street You Grew Up On. Make sure that you check out her new book, Be a Triangle, and just look out for everything she does, because she's leading the way, and I love her, and we love you, and thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you soon. Mwah.
Mwah.
Yes!
Yay, we did it!
We did it!